terrified bride discovers amazing new life. Little girl's heartwarming request changes everything. In the heart of a pristine suburban neighborhood, where white picket fences shone under the afternoon sun, Sarah stood on the brink of a life-changing moment. At 28, she was a bride-to-be, surrounded by glistening wedding plans and the echo of laughter from the children playing outside. Yet, the happiness of her impending nuptials faded beneath the weight of familial expectations and societal pressures. Every detail had to be perfect, every smile, every flower, every bite of cake. But inside, a storm raged. Was this truly the life she desired? With her wedding day looming, Sarah stole away to a nearby park, seeking solace among the blooming trees. As she sat on a bench, her heart felt heavy. The perfect image of marital bliss seemed more like a gilded cage. Just when despair began to take hold, a bright-eyed little girl approached her. "Hi," she chirped, her spirit as infectious as the sun breaking through the clouds. "I'm Lily. Are you getting married?" Caught off guard, Sarah smiled faintly. "I am. Just a few days away." Lily's face lit up like a shooting star, her innocence spilling over. "You should use your wedding to help the veterans at the community center. They love parties." The sincerity in Lily's voice struck a nerve, igniting a spark Sarah hadn't felt in ages. Suddenly, her wedding wasn't just an event, it could be a celebration of service and gratitude, a way to honor those who had sacrificed for their freedom. But as quickly as the excitement ignited, doubts crept in. She could almost hear her family's judgment echoing in her mind. A grand wedding is what matters, not this. Thoughts clashed like thunder. Who was she to tarnish the ideal wedding with charity? Her heart raced. And yet, a part of her yearned for something deeper, something that felt right. Sarah's mission began with fervor but met a wall of skepticism from her peers, who dismissed her plans as a distraction from what they called the real wedding. Each criticism flared her insecurities, leaving her feeling inadequate. Frustration bubbled within as setbacks on every turn led her further down a spiral of doubt. Days slipped by like water through fingers, each one weighing heavier than the last. Just days before her ceremony, Sarah found herself back on that park bench, tears threatening to spill. "What am I doing?" she whispered, despair painting her features. Then Lily appeared again, her eyes bright with understanding. "You look like you need a friend," she said, sitting beside Sarah. In that moment, everything shifted. As Sarah shared her fears, the little girl offered wisdom that felt both profound and childlike. "Love isn't about the fancy stuff, it's about what's in your heart. Let it shine instead of hiding it." In that simple exchange, Sarah felt a surge of clarity. She stood at a crossroads. Could she choose a path that honored her values over tradition? The weight of expectations was lifting, yet an ultimatum from her family loomed on the horizon, creating tension thick as fog. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the wedding day approached, with love and sacrifice pulling at her heart, Sarah faced a choice that could change everything. Would she find the courage to forge a new definition of love, or would she succumb to the immovable weight of expectation? As Lily's words echoed in her mind, a flicker of hope ignited within her. But just then, the familiar voice of her mother pierced through the air, demanding to know if Sarah was truly ready to sacrifice tradition for something so inappropriate. Battling her heart and the noise around her, Sarah froze, staring into an uncertain future. The air felt electric, a thick tension hanging between Sarah and her mother. Every word her mother spoke was a lash against the fragile hopes she'd just begun to nurture. "This is supposed to be the happiest day of your life. You're not going to throw it away for some misplaced ideal," her mother insisted, her voice cutting through the sweet afternoon air. For a moment, Sarah's heart sank. She had envisioned a day centered on love, not just her love for her fiancé, Jake, but for the communities that had been overlooked and the individuals who deserved acknowledgement. Yet here was her mother repeatedly pushing her into a mold that felt stifling. "I'm not throwing it away. I just want to do something meaningful," Sarah protested softly, her voice shaking. She could feel tears pricking the corners of her eyes, but she fought them back, gathering her resolve. "What exactly do you think is meaningful? A charity event? At your wedding?" Her mother scoffed, arms crossed defensively. "Sarah, this is about you and Jake. We've planned this for months. It's supposed to be perfect." In that moment, Sarah felt a swell of defiance rise within her. Perfect? What was perfect anyway? She looked past her mother, spotting Lily playing in the park, carefree and radiant. Joy shimmered around the little girl, and Sarah could hear her laughter like bells ringing in her heart. She remembered Lily's words, "Love isn't about the fancy stuff." Taking a breath, Sarah steadied herself. "Maybe it's time we redefine what perfect means," she said. "Maybe for me, it's about shining a light on those who are often in the shadows, who have fought for us." Her mother's face crumpled with disbelief. "You're making a mistake, Sarah. This isn't the time to be a martyr at your own wedding. Think of your father. How do you think he'd feel?" The mention of her father twisted the knife in Sarah's heart. He had always taught her to stand up for what she believed in, yet now it felt like a weight around her. Did she choose her own happiness or the approval of her family? The conflict raged inside her like a wild storm, but then she remembered the faces of the veterans she had met briefly during her visits to the community center, their stories lingering in her mind. Wouldn't he honoring them, even in such a seemingly small way, smoke the embers of true joy? In a surge of clarity, she whispered, "I don't want to wait anymore. I want this wedding to mean something." Just then, a familiar giggle from nearby caught her attention. It was Lily, tugging at her skirt with innocent conviction. "You're not sad, are you?" she asked, eyes wide and filled with genuine concern. "No, sweetie," Sarah smiled through the knot in her throat, her decision crystallizing with Lily's innocent question. "I'm just finding my way." But her mother wasn't finished. "You're being rash. There's too much at stake here." What her mother didn't realize was that there was a whole world beyond the wedding that awaited one that Sarah was ready to embrace. The fight for her future was upon her, and she could feel the adrenaline coursing through her veins. As she turned to Lily and knelt to her level, she felt her heart pound with a newfound clarity. "You know what, Lily? Let us do this together. Let us make sure everyone feels included on my big day." Lily's eyes sparkled. "Really? We can have cake for everyone." "Yes. And let us give them joy." But before Sarah could bask in the glow of her decision, her mother's next words hit like a thunderclap. "You will regret this, Sarah. You're breaking the family's heart, and what about Jake?" In that moment, the stakes intensified. Would Jake stand behind her choice? Would her family accept her radical shift, or had she already written a new chapter in her life? As Sarah faced her mother, her thoughts raced. Would she pursue this vision of unity or allow fear to reign? The crossroads had never felt so stark or so alive. And just like that, the future loomed before her, teetering between hope and despair, and Sarah knew that no matter the path she chose, there was no going back. What would be the repercussions of her choice? Would she lose everything she had planned or gain the freedom she never dared to dream about? Sarah stood there, her heart racing. Everything felt amplified: her mother's dismay, Lily's innocent enthusiasm, even the vibrant chatter of the nearby park. It enveloped her, the clarity of her decision hanging in the air like a sweet aroma. "Mom," she started, not ready to back down yet. "This isn't just about cake or charity, it's about being real. It's my life, and I want it to matter. You think this will matter more than the love you share with Jake?" Her mother's voice was sharp, and Sarah couldn't ignore the worry etched in her mother's brow. "We've built something beautiful together, don't you want to celebrate that?" "I do. But the celebration can be much more," Sarah argued, feeling fire ignite in her lungs. "I want our wedding to reflect not just the life Jake and I are building, but also a reminder of the lives that deserve recognition, love, and support. It should be about all of us." With every word, a flicker of a plan started to form in her mind, fueled by the faces of those she wanted to honor. Just then, she felt a gentle nudge at her side. It was Lily again, this time resting her head against Sarah's arm, her small features brimming with sincerity. "What if we bring the veterans to your wedding? Like a big party?" Lily suggested, voice bubbling with excitement. Sarah's heart swelled at the thought. "Yes. We could invite them, share their stories, and create a space where people can connect. It could be a celebration of love in every form." She could see it in her mind, a beautiful day not just for them but for everyone who needed a bit of hope. "Mom, what do you think?" Sarah turned to her mother, her voice softening. "Could we do this together? Honor those who've fought for us and still celebrate the love that Jake and I share." Her mother looked torn. "But it's going to change everything we've planned. The decor, the guests, it doesn't have to," Sarah pressed. "We can adjust, organize things differently. Isn't their beauty and spontaneity?" The tension in the air was palpable as Sarah met her mother's eyes, searching for a flicker of understanding. A moment passed, and finally, her mother sighed. "I just want what's best for you." Lily squeezed Sarah's hand, her face lighting up. "Best means cakes and stories and welcoming everyone, right?" "That's right." Sarah laughed, feeling the warmth of hope spread inside her. But even as she felt this rush of optimism, questions loomed like storm clouds. How would Jake react to her radical idea? Would he be on board, or would he feel blindsided? Still, there was no denying that this envisioned celebration sparked joy in Sarah's heart, blurring the lines between love and purpose. "I will talk to Jake," she promised, determination entering her voice once more. "I can't lose sight of why I love him and how he fits into this new plan." Lily's eyes sparkled, and Sarah lost herself for a moment in her innocent shine. There was a world full of possibilities that made the risks worth taking, yet, despite the glimmer of hope, a gnawing fear tugged at Sarah's heart as she rose from her kneeling position. How could she convey her intentions without overwhelming Jake? The memory of her mother's warning lingered painfully. Would their love survive this upheaval? As they strolled through the park, hand in hand, Sarah took a deep breath. The wedding was still a few weeks away, but the steps she would take from now on felt crucial. Every choice she made could either strengthen her bond with Jake or fracture it forever. She just had to take the leap and trust her instincts. But as they approached the busy picnic area, laughter and chatter met her ears, a bittersweet reminder of what was at stake. Would she be able to unite her love for Jake with her desire to create change? Steeling herself for the conversation ahead, Sarah knew there was truly no turning back. As the sun began to set, casting an amber glow, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of a bigger journey. Would Jake understand her heart's calling? Would love prevail over fear as they stepped into uncharted waters together? The next few days passed in a blur for Sarah. She barely noticed the vibrant blooms of spring or the blooming excitement of wedding plans swirling around her. Each time she thought of Jake, her heart did a little flip. Would he understand? Would he embrace this vision she had created in her mind? On the evening before one of their planning meetings, Sarah found herself sitting at the kitchen table, staring at the wedding binder. Pages were filled with floral arrangements, cake designs, and lists of guests. They were beautiful ideas, yet they felt trapped within the confines of traditional expectations. Her gaze shifted to the window. Outside, the sun was setting, painting the sky in hues of purple and orange, a breathtaking reminder of change. She snapped the binder shut with a decisive thump, startling her mother, who had walked in, tea kettle in hand. "You look intense, Sarah," her mom said, raising an eyebrow. Sarah hesitated, heat rising in her cheeks. I want to make this wedding something more meaningful. It can't just be about the two of us. It has to honor others too. Her mother's expression softened, but the worry still danced in her eyes. I understand that. But what if Jake doesn't see it that way? You know how sentimental he is about traditions. I know. That's why I'm scared. The words spilled out before she could catch them. But what a wedding represents, it can be everything. A chance to bring joy and hope. We can create a space where stories are shared, she pleaded. Her mom reached out, squeezing her hand. You have a big heart, sweetie. Just promise me you won't lose sight of your love for him in all this. I won't, Sarah promised, though the words felt fragile. The following evening, she decided to take the plunge. With the smell of freshly brewed coffee filling the air, Sarah found Jake sprawled on the couch, absorbed in a game. As she sat beside him, nervous anticipation fluttered in her stomach. Hey, she began, wrapping her fingers in her lap. Can we talk about the wedding? Sure. I've been thinking about the music. I want a great playlist. Some classic rock for the dancing part. Jake replied, a grin lighting up his face. Caught up in his excitement, Sarah felt her heart leap. That's great, but I want to discuss something really important. Okay. He shifted to face her, his expression turning serious. I've had this idea about making the wedding special for more than just us. She paused, gauging his reaction. What if we invited local veterans? We could share their stories, celebrate their sacrifices, and make our wedding a true celebration of love. Jake's brow furrowed as he processed her words. You mean have them there? At our wedding? Yes. Think about it, Jake, Sarah urged, her heart pounding. We could create a beautiful moment, a reminder of what this day means, not just for us, but for others. Sharing love in every form. For a moment, silence enveloped the room as he considered her idea. Wow, that's really different. I know it is. This is a chance for us to do something meaningful together. She could feel the weight of every word. You really believe in this, don't you? He asked quietly, and Sarah met his gaze, the determination in her heart echoing through her eyes. I do. I believe in us, Jake, she whispered, vulnerability creeping in. His expression softened, but there was a flicker of uncertainty. I want to support you, I really do, but I need time to think this through. As those words lingered in the air, Sarah felt a rush of mixed emotions. She had taken her leap, bearing her soul. The thud of her heart echoed in the silence. Okay, she said, though fear crept back into her heart. Just promise me we'll discuss it, together. Absolutely, he replied, and they sat in a newfound tension, two paths intersecting. As Sarah looked into Jake's eyes, a whirlwind of hope and doubt filled the space between them. She wondered, would his love adapt to this idea? Would they be able to embrace this new vision together? The quest to break barriers and welcome change had begun, but would it bring them closer or draw them apart? The morning sun glimmered through the sheer curtains, casting a soft glow over Sarah's anxious expression. She had barely slept, her mind racing with thoughts of the conversation from the night before. What if Jake couldn't get on board with her vision? She poured herself a cup of coffee, hoping it would calm her nerves. As she sipped slowly, there was a gentle knock at the door. It was her neighbor, Mrs. Green, an elderly woman with twinkling eyes and a penchant for sharing homemade cookies. Sarah opened the door, half-heartedly expecting the usual pleasantries. Good morning, dear. I brought you some lemon bars, Mrs. Green said, balancing a tin of treats on her hip. Thanks, Mrs. Green. You're too kind, Sarah replied, taking the tin and feeling warmth blossom in her chest. Oh, sweet Sarah, Mrs. Green said, adjusting her glasses. I heard you're getting married. Such joy. Have you chosen a date? The question hit Sarah like a floodgate opening. Yeah, well, we're actually still figuring things out. She didn't want to mention the whole veterans idea yet, unsure how it would be received, her heart still feeling heavy from Jake's hesitant stop. Mrs. Green's face brightened. You know, weddings are magical. They're about bringing people together. You should celebrate the love you have, not just the day itself. Sarah nodded, feeling her courage gently returning. That's what I was thinking. I want it to mean more, to touch others. Mrs. Green smiled knowingly, her voice warm as she added, you know, dear, when my husband and I married, we invited some local soldiers to share their stories. It made our day more meaningful than we could have imagined. It connects love with sacrifice. Her words resonated with Sarah. She had wanted to unite love and honor, and here was someone who had done just that. Really? That sounds beautiful. Absolutely. And always remember, weddings are about creating joy and hope. Make the day yours. With that, she turned to leave, leaving Sarah with a heart full of inspiration. Later that day, Sarah decided to reach out to some local veterans organizations. As she typed an email explaining her vision, excitement bloomed within her. She could imagine joy radiating from every guest, stories erupting like magic, and tears that spoke of pride and sacrifice filling the air. As the hours ticked by, she couldn't shake the growing sense of anticipation. When Jake returned home, she was practically vibrating with enthusiasm. Hey, I've been thinking about what you said, and I reached out to a couple of local groups. She said, unable to hide her smile. Jake dropped his keys, eyebrows raising. You did what? His expression was a mix of surprise and concern. I want them to be part of our wedding, Sarah continued, her heart pounding with hope. Think about it. Their stories deserve to be celebrated. We can make our special day impactful. He stood still for a moment, clearly struggling with her suggestion. And you think they'd want that? I know they would. She exclaimed. This could be a chance for the community to come together. Jake crossed his arms, his brow furrowed. It just feels a little intense, doesn't it? Sarah felt the excitement drain a little, replaced by the familiar weight of uncertainty. I get that. But isn't that what love is about? Honoring others as we celebrate our union? Before he could respond, Sarah's phone buzzed, breaking the tension. It was a reply from one of the organizations. As she opened the message, her breath hitched. Jake, she whispered, her heart racing. You won't believe this, she read the email aloud. They were enthusiastic about her idea and asked to meet to discuss how they could be involved. As she finished reading, she looked back at Jake, who stood wide-eyed. The weight of their earlier conversation shifted into something lighter, a possibility that flickered like a candle in the night. Maybe we can figure this out together. He said softly, a hint of a smile beginning to form. Sarah felt a rush of hope surge within her. But as they began discussing the next steps, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. What challenges would they face along the way? Would their bond truly strengthen through this experience? As night fell, they were lost in conversation, two hearts still grappling with the unknown. Would this leap of faith result in love thriving or break them apart? Sarah's pulse quickened at the uncertainty of it all, the wedding symbolizing far more than a mere union. It was a delicate balance of love, community, and honoring the past. And she couldn't wait to see how it would all unfold. But then the thought struck her, lingering only a heartbeat longer than it should have. What did honoring others really mean for their love story? The next morning arrived with a soft, golden hue painting the sky. Sarah woke, her heart still racing from the night before. Excitement and anxiety danced together in her chest. She couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the brink of something important, yet also daunting. After a quick shower, she stood in front of the mirror, studying her own reflection. There was a wild spark in her eyes, a new sense of purpose that hadn't been there before. Today, she and Jake would meet with representatives from the veterans organization. She reached for her notebook, flipping through pages dotted with thoughts and ideas about how to blend their wedding with stories of service and sacrifice. She found herself smiling at the potential joy this could bring, yet a knot of worry twisted in her stomach. What if Jake still wasn't on board with the whole idea? What if they faced pushback from family or friends? Jake joined her in the kitchen, still in his pajamas, rubbing the sleep from his eyes. "Morning sunshine," he said, the tenderness in his voice cutting through her swirling thoughts. "Morning. Today's the big day," she replied, pouring 2 cups of coffee with a hint of hope dancing in her topic. "I know," he murmured, his brow furrowing slightly. "Are you ready for this?" "More than ready. I mean, think about it, Jake. We can make it so meaningful." She placed the steaming cup in front of him, watching as he took a sip. "I believe in that," he said finally, his voice steadying her racing thoughts. "But it's a lot to these guys to wear their stories on our day." Sarah nodded, sensing the hesitation in his words. "I think it's an honor. They've given so much. Including their stories in our wedding could really touch people." After a pause, he sighed, "Okay. Let us see what they have to say." With that, they made their way to the community center. Sarah felt a pull in her heart, an urge to unite love and sacrifice in a way that transcended the day itself. As they entered the spacious hall, she noticed a group of veterans preparing for a community meeting. They stood there proudly, each with their own stories etched into their faces. A sense of awe washed over her. When it was their turn, they approached a small table where a veteran named Tom greeted them. He had silver hair and a warm smile that radiated gratitude. "I'm glad you're interested in involving us," he said. "Sharing stories is what keeps our spirit alive." Sarah exchanged glances with Jake. The tension eased just a little as Tom continued. "We love to do this, especially if it's for a wedding. It's refreshing to see young people like you wanting to honor service." Sarah's heart fluttered at his words. "We want our day to celebrate love and community together. The stories, the sacrifices, they matter to us." Tom listened intently, his eyes twinkling with understanding. "You've got a good heart. It's a beautiful thing you're doing." As they discussed details, Jake began to open up. "How can we incorporate these stories? We're open to ideas." Tom began sharing some traditions, stories from weddings in the past with veterans. The atmosphere became lighter, infused with laughter and shared experiences. Slowly, Jake's shoulders relaxed, and Sarah watched as a connection formed. It struck Sarah then a clarity she hadn't expected. The wedding wasn't just about their love, it was about bringing people together, weaving a tapestry of lives and histories intertwined. But just as they wrapped up their conversation, a small voice piped up from behind them. "Excuse me." A little girl, no older than 8, stood clutching a teddy bear. She had big, round eyes filled with curiosity. "What is going on?" she asked, looking between Sarah, Jake, and Tom. Sarah knelt down to meet her gaze. "We're planning a special wedding, and we want to celebrate heroes like your dad." "My dad's a hero?" she asked, her eyes widening. Tom chuckled. "Absolutely. And you know what? I think he'd be proud to know you're here." The girl looked thoughtful for a moment before her face lit up. "Can I tell you a story too?" Four sets of eyes turned to her. Anticipation bubbling in the air. Sarah felt her heart race again. What would this little girl say? What dreams and wishes did she hold in that innocent heart? And more importantly, how would this unexpected moment change everything? The air was thick with anticipation, as if time had slowed down just for the little girl standing before them. Sarah's breath caught in her throat, a blend of excitement and trepidation surging within her. She smiled at the girl, hoping to convey the warmth that flooded her heart. "Of course. We would love to hear your story." The girl shifted her teddy bear, holding it tightly to her chest. "My name's Ella," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "And my dad, he's in the army. He went to a really far place, and he comes home sometimes. She paused, looking down for a moment, then added, he was away when I got this teddy bear. I named him Captain because my dad said he was a captain. As Ella spoke, Sarah felt her heart swell. This child carried so much love and pride in her voice, wrapped up in her innocent belief that a simple teddy could connect her to her father's bravery. Tom bent down, his eyes softening as he addressed Ella. That's a wonderful name, Captain. What makes you think your dad would be proud? Because he told me to always help others, like how he helps people far away, she said, her eyes sparkling. He said everyone has a story. Even me. Jake glanced at Sarah, a silent understanding passing between them. In that moment, the enormity of what they were doing began to crystallize further. This wedding wasn't just about them, it was about capturing the essence of unity, of shared struggles and sacrifices. What story would you like to tell us, Ella? Sarah prompted gently. Ella's face lit up again, her cheeks flushing with excitement. I want to tell you about the time I made cards for all the soldiers to send to their families. I wrote letters and drew pictures. I wanted them to know they were loved too. The power of her simple act resonated in the room, swirling amidst the adults with an undeniable pull. Love and connection were the threads weaving their lives together, and this little girl was offering a beautiful reminder. Those sound like fantastic stories, Ella. We could use them in our wedding, Jake said, his voice brimming with newfound enthusiasm. Can I come too? Ella asked, her eyes wide with hope. I want to help make the cards, and maybe even be part of the wedding. Sarah shared a glance with Jake, and they both smiled. Absolutely. You're more than welcome, Sarah replied, her heart warming even more at the thought that as they discussed plans, Ella spoke freely, her ideas flowing like a river of innocence and creativity. Each word painted a vibrant image of how the wedding could unfold, cards placed at every table, heartfelt messages written by many. It filled Sarah with bubbling joy that soon spread to Jake, who nodded along enthusiastically, but just as their collective excitement peaked, a shadow flickered over Tom's face. Ella, sweetheart, he said gently, your dad, will he be able to join us? Ella's excitement faltered, a flicker of worry crossing her face. He is supposed to come home before the wedding. But sometimes things change. Her voice trailed off, uncertainty lingering in the air. In that moment, Sarah understood the deeper layer of their gathering. The reality of service was woven with sacrifice, hope mingling with fear. She realized how much this wedding would mean for not just her and Jake but for families like Ella's. What would it take for the love to shine through all the unknowns? Whatever happens, Ella, Sarah said softly, crouching down again, your dad is proud of you. He'll always be proud. Just like we will be of all the heroes. As Ella nodded, a new determination sparked in Sarah's heart. With this little girl's spirit igniting their mission, she felt ready to face any challenge. But as they packed up to leave, another thought surfaced in her mind, cast with urgency, a question lingering that felt too heavy to dismiss. What if their wedding could be a beacon for more than just celebration? What if it could reach the hearts of those still waiting for news, those still longing for their loved ones to come home? With each step out of the community center, Sarah could feel the weight of purpose settling in her chest. Could they really create something so profound? And as that thought hung in the air, hope surged within her, unknowingly setting the stage for the journey that lay ahead. Would their vision hold? Would Ella's innocent dream soar beyond expectations? The next morning dawned bright and clear, a radiant sun spilling into Sarah's kitchen as she sat with a cup of coffee, her mind racing over the prospects of the wedding. She stared out the window, her heart still full of Ella's enthusiasm. The girl had ignited something deep within her, a sense of purpose that was now interwoven with every detail of their upcoming celebration. Hey, you okay? Jake's voice broke through her thoughts as he emerged, hair tousled and eyes still sleepy. Yeah, just thinking, Sarah replied, a smile creeping onto her face. About what Ella said yesterday. I can't believe how much she wants to help. She's awesome, Jake said, pouring himself a cup. "And I love that we're getting more people involved. But do you think we might be biting off more than we can chew?" "No," she insisted, her conviction coming through. "This is important. We have to somehow connect people, especially families like Ella's." Jake sat down, pondering her words. "You think we could do something bigger? Like a project?" Sarah's eyes lit up at the suggestion. "Yes. Maybe we can create a community event around the wedding. We could gather stories from families affected by deployment. Each table could share a message for the soldiers." "You mean like a living tribute?" Jake asked, his brow furrowing with excitement. "That could be amazing." "Exactly," Sarah said, her hands animatedly gesturing as she envisioned the setup. "We could have a special table where we set up materials for writing letters, kids, adults, everyone. And we'd invite their families to come. It could mean a lot." Jake leaned in, inspired. "We could even coordinate with local organizations, get supplies, maybe even find a way to send care packages during the wedding." Just then, Tom entered, catching the tail end of their conversation. "What's this about care packages?" he asked, intrigue shining in his eyes. Sarah quickly shared their idea, and Tom's face lit up. "I love it. We could ask the community to help. Everyone loves to support our troops. I can reach out to my friends in the service, they could share messages back to the families." As excitement hung in the air, Sarah felt hope magnifying with every moment shared. Still, a worry tugged at her heart. While they could facilitate this endeavor, how would they manage the personal stories and emotions that would undoubtedly flow? "Tom, what if they can't handle the heartache?" Sarah asked, her voice softening. "What if they're still missing someone or waiting for news?" He paused, reflecting, then said, "That's the beauty of it. We're creating a safe space to connect. To let people be open, to share their feelings. They can choose how much they want to share or hold back. It's about love, not just remembrance." His words soothed Sarah, but another thought crept in. What if Ella's dad didn't make it home? Would that overshadow the joy they wanted to create? With determination, they began jotting down plans, ideas flowing like water. Community centers were called, supplies requested, and soon, Sarah's heart swelled at the thought of joining hands to create something bigger than themselves. Later that evening, they met with Ella and Tom at the park, excitement buzzing around them. "Ella," Sarah called, waving as they approached. "I have some fantastic news for you." As Ella ran toward them, joy radiating from her small frame, Sarah felt a flutter of nerves. The little girl's happiness might be fragile, depending on what lay ahead for her family. "Is it about the cards? Did you find a way for me to help?" Ella asked anxiously, her teddy bear swinging from her side. "It's even better," Sarah replied, locking eyes with Ella. "We want to turn the wedding into a community event. Together, we'll collect stories, make cards for other families, just like yours, and send packages." Ella's eyes sparkled with excitement, but as she opened her mouth to respond, a look of hesitation crossed her face. "But what if my dad isn't there?" she whispered, vulnerability lacing her voice. In that moment, the weight of their plan settled heavier than Sarah anticipated. They weren't just facing challenges, they were inviting real emotions that could cut deep, but before Sarah could gather the right words, Ella suddenly hugged Captain tight, a glimmer of hope returning to her expression. "Maybe he'll come home right on time." As the group erupted in chatter, each heart beating with anticipation, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that Ella's question had opened a door they might not be ready to face. What truly would happen if love didn't conquer all that day? Could they really create a celebration that would heal, or would vulnerability expose deeper wounds? The days melted into one another as Sarah, Jake, and Tom worked tirelessly. After brainstorming sessions that stretched into the evening, they began to see their dream morph into something tangible. Decorations were planned, supplies were ordered, and Ella's infectious energy pushed them all forward like a warm wind. One afternoon, as they gathered in the park, Sarah noticed Ella sketching in a notebook beside her. The little girl was lost in a world of crayons and paper, her face scrunched in concentration. Sarah took a moment to sit next to her, her heart swelling with admiration. "What are you drawing?" Sarah asked, leaning over to peek. Ella beamed up at her. "It's a picture of my family. Me, Mama, and my dad on the other side. He's in a superhero costume because he's a hero to me." Sarah's smile faltered just for a heartbeat. The image tugged at her heartstrings, and she struggled to contain a wave of emotion. "I love it. That's such a great idea. Do you think he'll get to see it?" Ella asked, her voice hopeful yet tinged with uncertainty. "Yes. We'll make sure he gets it, no matter what," Sarah promised, her voice firm and comforting. But inside, doubt swirled. What if that promise couldn't be kept? Just then, Jake approached with a box of craft supplies. "Hey, let's set up a story wall at the wedding. Everyone can decorate a piece to go on it. We'll hang it up for everyone to see." "That's a brilliant idea," Tom added, thumbing through the supplies. "I can't wait to see what everyone contributes." Ella clapped her hands together. "Can I help with the wall? I want to put a big heart on it for my dad." "Absolutely, Ella." Jake responded, his enthusiasm infectious. "You can be our chief heart decorator." The excitement poured through them, a visible thread of hope knitting the group closer together. The park filled with laughter as they crafted ideas in the sunshine. But as shadows began to lengthen, Sarah felt an uneasiness settle within her. She had insisted on this gathering, for it was meant to celebrate connection, but the looming uncertainties weighed heavily. That night, Sarah lay awake, staring at the ceiling, Ella's drawing dancing in her mind. She pulled her phone from the bedside table, scrolling through pictures of soldiers, families, and handwritten letters. There was joy and sorrow intertwined in every image. Then she remembered something Ella had said, maybe he'll come home right on time. But what if he didn't? What if the very thing they hoped to celebrate turned to grief? Her heart raced. Did they even have the emotional space to hold the weight of disappointment? In the quiet of the night, she felt the walls of her resolve begin to tremble. The next morning, as the sun broke through the clouds, Sarah gathered her thoughts and faced Jake and Tom over breakfast. "I want to talk about Ella. What happens if her dad doesn't come home? How do we prepare for that?" Tom remained silent, searching Sarah's eyes for signs of doubt. Jake took a deep breath. "We have to be honest with ourselves, and with her. But we also have to give her hope, Sarah." "It's a delicate balance," Sarah nodded, taking in his words but feeling the weight of vulnerability. What if holding on to hope hurt them more when faced with reality? She felt the enormity of their dream looming over them like a dark cloud blocking out the sun. Just then, a loud knock at the door jolted their conversation. Tom went to answer it, revealing a tall figure outside, clad in military gear. His heart raced. Who could it be? Sarah couldn't breathe, her instincts screaming that this moment mattered. In one heartbeat, everything could either fall apart or begin to heal. "Who is it?" she whispered, her fingers gripping the edge of the table. Steeling herself, she was about to face whatever came next. Would this be a life-changing moment? Or would it shatter the hopes they built? As Tom opened the door wider, Sarah knew she would soon discover exactly what it meant to confront the truth. The suspense hung in the air, thick as fog. But when the man stepped over the threshold, every breath Sarah had been holding escaped her lips in disbelief. It was Ella's father, tall, sturdy, with a look of tenderness mixed with relief shining through his eyes. "Daddy!" Ella screamed, dropping her crayons and darting toward him. The little girl flung herself into his arms, her squeals of joy echoing through the room. He caught her effortlessly, lifting her high and spinning her around as laughter filled the space. Sarah felt a rush of warmth wash over her. Hope bubbled in her chest as she looked at Jake, who wore an expression of shock turned to happiness. Tom, too, was grinning widely, his hands resting comfortably on his hips, filled with pride for the moment unfolding before them. "Sweet pea, I'm home early," the soldier said, his voice thick with emotion. Ella held her father's face in her little hands, her eyes sparkling with admiration. "We're having a party, Daddy. A big wedding party. You get to come. Is that right?" he asked, looking up at Sarah and Jake, whose smiles felt radiant against the backdrop of love. "You're the couple making all of this happen." "Yes. We want to celebrate love and heroes, and share stories together," Sarah said, her voice trembling with both excitement and nerves. She watched as Ella's dad absorbed her words, taking it all in. "It means the world to us that you're here," Jake added, stepping forward, extending a friendly hand. The soldier took Jake's hand in a firm shake, laughter still in his eyes. "Can't say how grateful I am for what you're doing." There was a sudden spark of connection, a shared understanding between them. As the excitement settled, Sarah turned toward Ella's dad, her heart racing. "What do you think about joining our community project? We're gathering stories, making cards, and creating space for connection at the wedding." "That sounds incredible," he replied, his eyes shining with pride. "I'd love to be a part of it. Ella deserves that joy." In that moment, the emotional weight of the wedding shifted. They weren't merely organizing tabletop decorations or guest lists, they were weaving a tapestry of human connection, threaded with love and sacrifice. Days rolled on with a newfound energy as they planned the wedding. The ideas flowed like a river, each person pouring in their thoughts, stories, and experiences. They set up a story wall at the venue, where guests could write messages of hope, their anecdotes, and expressions of love for those who had served. It became a foundation for their gathering far beyond a mere celebration of their marriage. And in the corner of the room, Ella, alongside her dad, made cards together, giggling and sharing secrets. Her eyes sparkled as she told stories of her adventures playing soldier with her teddy bear, imagination dancing in each twist of her words. Finally, when the wedding day arrived, a cascade of colors filled the venue. Bright decorations adorned the tables and guests' faces reflected joy and anticipation. Sarah took Jake's hand, feeling a rush as they entered not just as partners but as co-creators of something so much more significant. The ceremony blended their vows with heartfelt stories shared by the veterans. The air filled with warmth as they honored those who had fought bravely, and laughter erupted when Ella's dad narrated snippets of his own journey. As Sarah exchanged vows with Jake, she felt the weight lift, every fear dissipating in the face of joy. They had chosen love that expanded beyond mere romance, embracing community, hope, and the deep-seated connections of human experience. And as Ella tossed petals down the aisle, giggles resonating in the crowd, Sarah knew this was just the beginning. The wedding wasn't merely a single day, it was a spark that ignited change, connection, and transformation, solidifying the bonds of family, friendship, and a shared future. As moments unfolded, the weight of their dreams, tender stories of love, joy, and vulnerability crystallized into something beautiful, a memory that would linger long after the music faded, echoing in hearts forever. Looking around at the smiling faces, Sarah felt a profound sense of gratitude. They had chosen authenticity over perfection, community over isolation. The love they celebrated that day felt boundless. And just like that, it was done. Their journey toward redefining special occasions had begun, and as they stepped into life hand in hand, Sarah couldn't help but feel hopeful. But now, here's where you come in. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about this beautiful ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this heartwarming transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Join our journey as we inspire one another.